Amazing. Didn't Alberta look amazing on the big screen? So cool. I'm Paul Karchet. I host Daybreak Alberta weekend mornings on CBC Radio. A few listeners? Excellent. Good. How about Heartland fans? Many of those? I figured there'd be a few more of those, yeah. So why don't we welcome Amber Marshall. You know her. Shaun Johnston. Michelle Morgan, Chris Potter, and there's Shaun. Lead writer and showrunner Mark Faroon. Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Mark, you coming up? Come on up.
You look great, Shaun.
No, my chair does wiggling.
Hey,
Got a little
hey,
wiggle.
Dean.
The grip department here.
Yeah, we need somebody to
Dean, where
put
are
some
you?
under a leg here.
Awesome job on that, man.
How great was that?
So Dean Bennett, our director-producer, directed that episode.
Pardon me?
Dean Bennett, our director-producer, directed that episode. And Mark wrote it.
How did it feel, Amber, to see the 250th episode on the big screen?
Oh, was that a question?
That was for you.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I'm honestly just blown away by the support here today, guys. So a big round of applause for all of you. Thank you very much. 250 hours of watching us and you're still not sick of us? That's pretty impressive. Yeah? And we're not sick of each other. That's even more impressive.
Shaun, 17 seasons. When you started, did you think, yeah, sure, we'll get to 17 seasons? I mean, did you ever think you'd get to this place on this show?
No, man. No, not at all. No, I was preparing these young kids at the time to, like I told them, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Do you know how often pilot episodes fail to go to series? So, because they're all talking about, oh, we're going to live together when it goes to series. We're going to live together, and I'm going to get this groovy car. Yeah, the other one's going, oh, yeah, we're living together. And, you know, and I said,
Here's old, wise Shaun.
yeah.
saying, you guys are full of pipe dreams. It's never going to happen. And here we are.
Yeah, who's got the egg on their face now, right? I was the old wise guy that got schooled by the kids.
Can I tell a quick anecdote?
Absolutely.
During season 2, or 3, you have to remind me, Shaun pulled me into his trailer to talk to me. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, we need to talk. I've never been on a show that made it to season 3 or 4, was it? To season.
Either.
Yeah, and you're like, I really want us to get renewed. Do you think the other kids, they're gonna take this seriously, right? And you basically wanted me to give a pep talk to Amber and Graham and Carrie and be like, guys, take this seriously. We need to get renewed. And I was like, okay, sure, yeah.
I don't remember that pep talk.
It never happened.
What?
We just
What?
all went, yeah.
Oh, you're gonna get a spanking.
Chris, it's amazing to think about here that 17 seasons in, you've got a cast and a crew that's been with it for so long. I mean, how unprecedented is this in the world of television?
Well, I think the success of it answers itself. Unprecedented is, this business, at least for me, I early on had to program myself not to look forward to another season. No matter what your contract says, none of us know year to year whether we're going to be working. So you start to live your life that way. And I always find it difficult at the end of every season to think that this is it. And even after 17 seasons, I feel the same way. And I'm always, really? Another one? But looking back, yes, it's unprecedented. And there was a time, the business has changed so much since 2007. We started this show on film. Then we went digital. There was no streaming when we started.
There was no iPhones.
So,
Whoa.
so to answer your question, it is a phenomenal feeling every year just to be renewed. And it's beyond my comprehension now. I'm just sort of literally going along for the ride and hoping I can get on my horse every year.
You look pretty good on there. Mark, I gave away a bunch of pairs of tickets to tonight for Daybreak listeners and getting people to write in and explain why they should come and why they're super fans of the show and the stories that we got, like the connection and the passion that people feel for this show. Any of the Daybreak winners out there? Okay, all right, good.
A friend of mine, Angela. Say hi, Angela. Oh, she's there. she won a ticket on your show.
Oh, right on, good stuff. But Mark, when we talk about those connections and the level of commitment that people have to this show, why do you think it resonates so deeply?
I mean, I think there's a lot of different reasons the show resonates. I think it's the people you see up here, this incredible cast. It's really lightning in a bottle, I think, on any series when you have a cast that just sort of clicks. And I think it happened in the very first episode, and it's the reason we're still here 17 years later, incredibly. And also, I think it's great stories. And, Heather Conkey, who's here tonight, she just did an incredible job putting this world together over the course of, 15 seasons. And, Heather always said, make them laugh and make them cry. And hopefully do it in the same scene, and that's sort of the sweet spot. And I think I learned that from Heather. Hopefully I'm carrying that on. That's why this show resonates, because it hits people in that sort of part of their lives where it's sort of an intersection of all those things, of the tears, of the laughter. And I don't think a lot of shows do that, and I think we do that on the show. And it's also just, I think it's Heartland is this place that all, the actors have created it, the writers have created it, and people want to keep coming back year after year, and we're just so grateful that they do.
We saw it. We saw the baby on screen there on this episode. I've always wondered, is there where do you get a baby from for a show?
Our casting person is here.
What's that, Michelle?
There's casting people that we have, but we have excellent casting directors who.
I think
put the word out.
Betty's probably here
Betty's
somewhere.
here.
That's Betty found the baby. Yeah.
Amazing. It's like, is there a dial-a-baby service? I mean, how does this work?
There should be.
I have another question for you, Mark, which is to do with, the connection that people feel to the characters on this show. I mean, we saw Graham Wardle here in the audience a little earlier. Graham was written off the show in season 14. People felt really strongly about that. How difficult is it when you need to make a big change like that in the show?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all, the whole writing team, I think we were really, it was a hard thing to do. But I feel like, part of any series is if you want to keep going, you make it work. And I think obviously Graham, he moved on to other things in his life. And so that we were able to tell that story, I think, in a really respectful way, and I think it's brought new elements to the show that's been really successful and thrown new challenges and new stories into our characters' lives, and we want to keep going, and hopefully the fans are coming along for the ride.
All that to say, Amber, that Amy's dating come season 17. I mean, so in the trailer, which we saw up on screen here at the end, there's a kiss
Who does she kiss?
that had people like up in arms, like excited and sad and all this stuff. Season 17 is a real turning point for your character. How so? What all goes down?
I think this was Amy's moment to live her life a little. You know, and what Mark was saying, it was hard for us from a storytelling point of view when we lost Ty, because we had so many beautiful stories and the connection between Amy and Ty was so special. But I think that it was a great opportunity to reach out and to touch people on a different level. Here's a grieving mom who's trying to do the best for her kid and the best for herself too, because this is not just, Lindy who's suffering in this is the whole family. And I feel like there was an opportunity that we wouldn't have had before to tell this story of a mother who just wants to pour her heart into her child, but at the same time, she's broken inside too. And so I think that over the last 3-4 years that we've told this story, each year we find a new spark in Amy. And we kind of see this journey that she goes through. And for me, that was really rewarding to play. And I think as actors, we always want to reach in and just bite on that crunchy bit of apple. I'm going to steal something from Graham because he always talked about like crunchy apples or something that's very good for your soul. And by playing this character, I played 14 years as Ty's lover. So to be able to go into a mode of grief and all of this pain that I can't even imagine a grieving mother would feel, I think that it gave us new opportunities as a family to come closer together and to experience new stories. And so season 17, was Amy's time to be like, you know what? I never really dated. Like, does anyone remember the very first time Amy and Ty met? They were at some party. Well, that wasn't the first time they met. I know there's probably some fans that know the storylines better than I do. I'm not even going to go there because that's 17 years ago for me. But Amy and Ty, he broke her up from Jessie. This was her first love. And then we go through this roller coaster of, then Ty leaves and Amy's with Caleb, and then Ty comes back, and then Amy's with Chase. And then it was this like crazy roller coaster of teenage love, which was really real, I think, because anyone who's been a teenager, anyone over the age of 18 has been a teenager. And so I think we can all relate to that kind of love story. And then the fact that they do get married and she marries the boy in the loft. And then it comes full circle again to her saying, but can I love again? Is that something that's possible for me? And I think that was a really important story to tell and to share. And for me, it was really revitalizing for my character, because it's been several years of me just being like, no, I'm not ready. And then season 17 was like, you know what? Sure, let's give it a try. And I think that for me and Michelle too, that was fun to play that sisterly moment in there too. So, yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we could get, or I could anyway, get a lot more mileage. I'll address this right to Mark. I think we could get a lot more mileage out of no man ever being good enough for Amy. And so let her beat all these guys up for like many seasons to come. Let Jack go, no, not good enough. And then we'll see all these interesting characters come through, and not good enough, eh?
Yeah, and Amy's still going to be dealing with a lot of horses. It's not just dating.
I don't just
it's not
horses, boys now.
It's all boys now, yeah. The table is set on season 17 as well, Michelle and Chris, for drama on the beef business fronts, on the mayoral front. What can we expect on that front in terms of the plot line over the next season?
For Lou?
For Lou, yeah.
Well, she has a nervous breakdown. No, but she kind of has
Again?
I'll leave it at that. No, I won't. She has a bit of a tough go at the start of the season, and Lou has to reinvent herself. And I think it's really relatable for women my age. Not going to date myself, but late 30s, early 40s, where you find yourself at a turning point in your life and you have to make some tough decisions and let some things go, and it's not easy. And also dealing with a teenage daughter. So Lou has a bit of a tough time, but in a way that I think was actually dramatic, but also we had fun with it this season.
What about the beef biz, Chris? What's coming for Heartland?
Am I allowed to say, Mark? I don't know. How are we for spoilers? I shouldn't say.
I mean, it's
okay.
Yeah.
No one here will say anything.
Keep,
that's right.
Everyone
We're
keep
all
it
among
secret.
friends here.
It's going to be a bumpy ride for Heartland this season in terms of the beef business. I don't think we can say too much more than that.
Okay.
But yeah. And obviously Nathan Price will become a surprising character.
A thorn in the heel, yes.
In a surprising way, yeah.
Chris, I gather that off-screen, you don't have a cowboy background. You're not steeped in it, but you've been living it on screen for all these years. How has that kind of, I don't know, informed your life, and how much have you found yourself kind of?
Well, first of all, none of us have a cowboy background.
Right.
We were actors. If this had been a hospital show, we'd all be talking about playing nurses and doctors.
100%.
Except Amber couldn't wear the nurse's costume home every night.
Amber looked pretty good on that horse there.
So, what's the question?
The question is, as you've spent all these years.
I have an answer.
Yeah, sure.
First of all, my wife happens to be here tonight, which is for all of our wives and husbands and wives and spouses and partners and children. The pandemic was a very difficult time because we could not only we had to be separated, but we could. And I don't want to talk about the pandemic. Trust me, we're all tired of it. But it was tough on families because we had to. We couldn't bring people to set. And that caused even more separation. Personally, I live in Ontario. So, but I am the #1 promoter of Alberta in Ontario. Damn that Toronto-centric province. But I have to say that I wanted to thank, because Karen is right there and my daughter Quinn is right there, that this has been, for me, the biggest challenge. Everything's been rewarding. As an actor, I've enjoyed every moment of my participation, but it doesn't come without a price, and that involves other people, and those are our families. And in my case, it means commuting constantly for 17 years. No 2 years are the same. Some years we are 7 months, 4 months this year. Heather Conkey can relate. She was from Toronto. And Wayne Pells can relate, our script supervisor. That's been a huge challenge, and I want to thank my family for allowing me, I hope still, to continue doing this, because that's the biggest one for me.
Yeah. I guess the question was, how much Alberta and Western tradition has kind of worn off on you, but it sounds like it has, yeah.
I find my own brother asked me this year during Stampede, he said, I'm going out to Stampede, I need a costume. I said, first of all, they're not costumes.
Don't call it that.
You got a lot to learn, and don't ask that question, So I'm so proud of this province and the film. Look at the success of these shows. It was brought up tonight, Fargo, Revenants, on and on, going back to the 90s, the 80s. I first came out here to do Lonesome Dove, which was my first experience, and I thought, those people, those actors get to work in that environment? Oh my, I would love to do that. Somebody was listening, and lucky me, but Alberta has the most resilient crews I've ever seen. The weather changes every 15 minutes here. We've survived a flood, Massive hailstorms on top of Moose Mountain. We've had snowstorms, minus 30 degree. There's nobody that's spent more time in the weather than Amber, next to our hardy crew. Is comfortable, it's nice to have your horse saddled and live in a warm trailer, but the fact is our crew's outside, and nothing can take them down. Our show keeps rolling. This show keeps rolling.
On that, rapid fire here for you, for all of you, okay? So, worst weather in a shoot, Amber, that you had to deal with?
Like Chris just said, it's all across the map. For me, the really, really cold temperatures. It's really hard when your face freezes and you can't talk, and you're supposed to deliver a big speech of dialogue, and you can't feel your face. It's always fun, so that's probably the worst, I would say, is like minus 40s when you're out in a jean jacket, in this, just being like, I'm so warm.
Shaun, most number of takes for one scene that you had to take?
Most number of takes?
That's a good question for him.
It's a good question for
And
Shaun.
why would you ask that to me?
If you could have been a fly on the wall a couple of times.
Let's call it many.
What?
Yeah. Most number of takes, many.
A whole month?
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. We could come back tomorrow and continue. Potter knows I want to do another take lots of times, but he kind of looks the other way, and he doesn't want me to do another take. He's just like, okay, fine. But no, I'm the king of many.
Most emotional scene you had to shoot, Michelle?
Giving birth. Yeah, I had to give birth on the show before I had given birth in real life, so that was challenging. And now when I watch women give birth on TV, I'm always like, I could do it better. No, but Mallory killed it. I'm not talking, she did great, but I mean in general, she really did.
The horses play such a huge role. Chris, funniest horse story from on set?
Did you say horse?
Yes.
Can I go to the weather one?
Oh, jeez.
I'll trade.
Sure.
I tell you though, we did have a situation. I happened to be directing this episode, and we had a tornado barreling toward us at Heartland Ranch. Heartland Ranch has no foundation. It's all slab-on-grade buildings. We had our 100-person crew, and this tornado was coming apparently at 200 kilometers an hour from the Calgary direction. I could see it, and I had to talk with the first AD at the time. We had to make a decision, some advice. So I said, anyone, you can all do what you want to do, but I suggest if that thing keeps coming, we have to lie down in that field because there's no ditches or any low ground. And I said, and this will be the only time you ever hear me say, Wayne Pels, lie on top of me. Suddenly, the tornado turned and headed east.
For those who don't know, who's Wayne and why?
Wayne is our script supervisor who's been with us on every show from the very beginning of the pilot to this very day. And
We love him.
And we love him. He's universally loved. And he's a big man. And hence that story. But the tornado did turn and we got out of Dodge all right.
I'm going to put the horse story to you then, Mark. Strangest moment with a horse on set.
Oh, well, I work at a computer and I write,
that's not
I write
a
about
Mark
the horses.
question.
I don't deal directly with them. So,
Okay. All right.
so
Well, let me ask you the rapid fire question. Your favorite episode and why?
That's a really impossible question.
250 of them.
Yeah. I would say, the storylines that stick out for me are,
early on, the Ty's sort of evolution as a character, that was one of the storylines that I really embraced. He started out as this kind of, ragtag kid that shows up at the ranch, and he evolves into this husband and father, and that was a really satisfying story to tell. And then, one of the things we got to do this season, which I really loved, was go into the past and reveal something. This was specific to Lou's life, and a moment that we've never sort of heard about before, but something really, that affected Lou in this huge way. And it's all sort of caught up in this, as Michelle mentioned, the life changes in Lou's life. And we actually get to go back in time, and we get to see some of those moments. And it was just so satisfying to be able to tell a brand new story from the past that's so connected to all the other stories. And I think you don't get to do that on a series that's 2 or 3 seasons. You do that in a 17-season series, and it's so satisfying and so I think really special. So that's episode 7 this year, written by Caitlin Fryer, who's a writer that joined us last season, who's phenomenal. And I think it's a really exciting place to go. And I can't say too much more about it because it would reveal a lot of hopefully things that will be very surprising down the line. But I think it's a really cool moment, and was a really satisfying thing from a writing point of view to be part of.
Amber, I mean, we hear the enthusiasm in the crowd here as people, cheer for certain characters or certain moments or whatever. We've talked about the crew and the cast and how, essential they've been to this show's success. What about the fans? I mean, what's it like to see this enduring interest and passion for this show from all these folks?
I love you guys. Honestly, I say this all the time, not just to these guys, but to my friends that are outside of this industry, because I actually have those, they aren't just all actors and crew members of Heartland. And I say, I can't imagine being on any other show with a different fan base, because over the years, you guys are not only so committed and dedicated to the show, but you're so wholesome and kind. And when I look around at some of the other, not that I spend much time on other shows' social media networks, but I see a lot of negativity and a lot of just bicker back and forth and things that are said. And most of the time when I go on anything to do with Heartland, you guys are just so loving and kind and appreciative of one another. And that makes me feel really good. And it makes me feel like what we are doing is the right thing. And so that makes me feel even better, and it makes me feel great that we're still up here 17 years later, because this is what the world needs. The world needs more kindness. So thank you, guys.
It's not every day you see a horse on the red carpet.
Oh.
You know you're in Calgary when Spartan made an appearance here this evening. So great for you all to come up here as well and talk through this amazing 17 season run. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, guys, for being here.
Thank you. And you. Thank you, everybody.
Let's hear it for Amber Marshall, Michelle Morgan, Shaun Johnston, Chris Potter, Mark Haroon. And we'll make sure to tune in as well here for the new season of Heartland beginning this Sunday. You can stream new and past episodes for free in Canada on CBC Gem. Catch it on CBC TV, 7 o'clock every Sunday night. I'm Paul Karchett. It's been great to have you along. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.